Hey guys, welcome back to the Snap-Ring Chronicles. Today we're back at you with another vintage ratchet video. Today we have an Easco 1/2" ratchet. But before we jump into this, if you can give me a like and also subscribe to this channel if you find this content interesting or helpful, that would really be appreciated. Okay, today we have an Easco. And Easco was a company, has kind of an interesting history, a lot of mergers and acquisitions in the whole tool business. It's a complicated subject, and I mean, you can write a book on just that subject, all these mergers and acquisitions. And Easco was another merger and acquisition. They took over from more Drop Forge, and they established Easco. Then Easco, I think in 1990, was taken over by Danaher, and then Danaher morphed into Apex Group, which is the Apex Group we have today. But Easco is a pretty well-regarded tool company. Their ratchets were pretty well-regarded, and you probably recognize this ratchet, which was the Easco version for Craftsman of the same ratchet. And this one is the round head fine tooth. Very popular, very well-regarded ratchet in the Craftsman line. This was produced for a long time. I think it was done from the late 60s to the late 80s. So this probably had oh no, I take that back. I think it had a longer run. I think it was late 60s to 2008, something like that. I could be wrong, but they had a long run for this ratchet, 20 or 30 years. And here's another Easco. This is the same ratchet but in 3/8, and you can see that this one does not have the quick release like that one and that one. The quick release, that's another subject. There was a patent that Sears bought from an employee or something like that, and there was a lot of litigation about it later on, but they owned the patent for quick release. And so Easco, even though they made the Craftsman ratchets, they couldn't put quick release on their own ratchets until the patent runs out, which patents usually last 20 years. I think 20 years is the maximum run for a patent. So I guess after 20 years, they were able to utilize the quick release. So this is probably an Easco from later on, towards the end probably. Okay. And this model is the 731111 Forged Alloy USA. This one seems to be in good shape. I don't see any hammer blows on the side here of the handle on either side, so it doesn't look like it was abused, and the chrome looks in decent shape. Let's look inside. Here's the ring, just the normal kind of Craftsman style ring. Here is, let me show you the head first before we get into the mechanism. Here's the head. The teeth, at a glance, they look pretty good. The drilling or the broaching looks decent. but on closer inspection, you see this row of teeth in there? It looks like they've been hacked off, kinda. Like almost half of the tops are missing towards the end here. Right there. And at first, I don't know if you can see that very well, but they look kind of flattened there. You see how the ridges of the teeth on the front side here, coming in this way, they're all sharp, and then over here you have all these flattened teeth, and some of them are flattened almost halfway through the tooth. There you could probably see it a little bit better. You see how you have like triangles at the end there, and then you go up here and you see it's flat and jagged, and that runs almost halfway through the tooth. And the rest of them don't look too bad. And I was thinking to myself when I first saw this, I was like, okay, broken teeth, you know, signs of abuse. I'm looking at it and I'm like, when I took this apart, I don't think anybody else ever took this apart because it had like the original grease in it. So I'm saying, okay, doesn't look, no hammer blows, no real signs of abuse. Why are those teeth like that? And I didn't find, usually when you find broken teeth, you find the broken teeth inside floating somewhere. You see pieces of metal floating inside the head. This one, I didn't find that. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that this is an example of bad broaching on Easco's part. That right there, that's just bad broaching. And it wasn't because this Ratchet was abused or anything. I think it's just, it came from the factory like that, which is kind of surprising. And I don't know the date on this. This could be towards the end of Easco's run, so maybe they were a little bit, you know, they were slipping a little bit, or they weren't too concerned, so they just, you know, moved this out the door and left it at that. But okay, that's just my opinion. But here's the mechanism. This mechanism is different from this one because you see on this one it has a plunger that sticks up from the anvil, this quick release. This one doesn't have that plunger. When you press this quick release, there's nothing coming out of the top. This one you can take apart. This one you can't take the switch out. It's permanently fixed in there. To take it out, you'd probably have to, like, I don't know, remove this ball probably to get the switch out. This one, it comes out, but you'd have to take first the ball, the tents that are in there, and the spring out first. And when you first get this one especially, I'm not sure with the other one, but I know this one, it was peened. These posts, the pawl pins are peened to enlarge them in place, and they're kind of driven in. So I had a little bit trouble getting this apart, but I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna take it apart, but you gotta be careful when you take these apart because, oh boy, because in the other ones to take it apart, you twist and get the ball detents under the post here, and then you can get these out. And you probably could do that here too. Let me see. Yeah, you can. Alright, so now the pawls are just flopping. There's no ball detents. The ball detents are under these posts here. Okay, I guess now it's easier. Hold on a second to get these pins out. But all right, you see these little pin marks here? On the pin. They did like 3 pin marks. They pinned this pin 3 times to, I guess, expand it a little bit, so it could be really hard to get out of these. When I put this back together, I filed it down a little bit, so that's why you saw it wasn't really that hard to get out. Okay, and here's the paw. It's a 3 teeth per side, and this is a double paw design, so they're 2 paws, and they're three teeth each side. And the paws have like a rise in the middle here. There's a paw. And I gotta say that here's another thing. This is kind of rough. You see how this is like smooth? This part here is kind of smooth, and then the rest is kind of like they cut it rough. You see all the lines and striations here. They didn't smooth this out at all. Another thing I was looking at was like kind of the roughness of this paw, and this on top of the bad broaching in the head kind of gave me some question marks. So you see, like there's like low ledges flat here, and then this was kind of smoothed out, or kind of roughed up. Maybe they needed to make it less wide. I'm not sure, but. And on this side, it's kind of rough also. Okay, now let's take the next pen out. That one came out pretty easy. Same thing here. The 3 pins here. It was pinned on 3 sides to make it hard to get out, and it was hard to get out. I had to use some. Let me see what I have, if I have it here. Yeah. I had to use a pair of these end cutters to grab on to the little bit that I could out of that was sticking out, and yank them out. And I had to twist them in, twist them out. It was kind of not cooperating. Okay, here's the paw. Same thing, kind of rough on the sides here. The paw underneath. You see it's like that little rise there again. And on the other side, rough. And they don't have any chamfering on the hole to help put the pin in. Okay, this is the tricky part, because you got the two balls under tension underneath these posts. So I would just put my fingers around there like that and have them snap out. Okay, so these are the balls that are in the switch, and this is the spring that's in between the two ball bearings, and here's the switch, and it comes out, and that's the hole where the spring and the balls sit, and this is the tip. And in there's another ball bearing. This one's a bit bigger. And if you look in where the ball bearing was sitting, let me see if I can, you can barely make out, there's a spring down there. There's a spring or something on a spring, because there's definitely some spring action down there. Or that might be a sheath that protects, that keeps the ball from going down, and under that there's a spring. I'm not gonna take that out because I'm afraid if I take that out, I won't be able to get that ball back in place. So I'm just gonna leave well enough alone and break it down as much as I can here, like this, and just leave it at that. And this video is running a bit long, but I'm not gonna put this back together in this video. It's gonna take too long. It's gonna be like a 25-minute video, because it's a pain to get this back together a little bit, and it's just time consuming. So here's a look at all the components. Here's the mechanism housing. I mean, well cut. These the grips here on the side of the thumb wheel looks pretty nice, I gotta say. Like this component here looks like it was really well done. But yeah, like I said, I'm not gonna put this back together right now. It's gonna be like a 25-30 minute video, and it's gonna be much too boring. So alright guys, that's what I got. I just wanted to show you this this Easco, probably from the later on in their run, probably towards the late 80s or early 90s. Okay guys, till next time.